And
Morning, Mom.
we are recording. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us bright and early this morning. We had to scrape the car this morning, so it is definitely that time of year where it's a good day to be indoors and crafting. And I don't think we have to worry about those trick-or-treaters tonight. Usually I'd be worried that they'd be having to wear their parkas over top of their beautiful costumes, but this year will be a very different Halloween. So hopefully it's just as festive. I do have my Halloween shirt and my Halloween socks on, so I'm definitely trying to get in the spirit. And so today I'm going to show you how to make, I think in the description I called it a Twisty Turny card. I'm going to say it's more like a tag than a card, but you could take this format and put it on a card if you wished, or make a garland, or decorations, or depending on what size punches you use, you can make them bigger or smaller. So let's start with the pumpkin version, because that's how I originally envisioned it. But then, of course, my wheels got turning, and there are some different ideas that we can do. I have also seen this format as a snowman, so we can make one of those today as well. As always, please mute your microphones just so we can minimize the background noise. But if you have questions or if I'm going too quickly, do not hesitate to unmute and call out to me. I'm happy to go over things multiple times if needed. And we are recording this, and it will get uploaded onto YouTube in the next day or so if you need to rewatch. But I think this is, straightforward enough that if you make one with me this morning, or even just watch how it's done, you will be able to recreate it without any video. All right, so without further ado, I am actually going to start with my 2-inch scallop punch. With this, size doesn't really matter. You can do bigger, you can do smaller, at least to get the idea. I don't know that I would go down to like a 1-inch. That might be too small to start with. And the three, we're gonna punch 3 circles. You can have them, each circle be a different size as well. I've just got a small selection of punches here, so I'm just gonna keep mine all the same size. And then I've got some orange cardstock, so I'm just gonna punch out 3 circles using my scallop punch so that it looks a little bit more like a pumpkin. If you only have round circles, that's no problem. If you have ovals, you can use that too. It's a pretty flexible concept that we're going to do here. So there's 1, 2. This is a great tip, or not tip, a technique to be able to use up your scraps as well. Look at this. I can get 3 out of one of my little scraps here, which is awesome. So I have my 3 circles. Now I'm going to take my piercing tool, and you're going to need 2 brads. We're digging back into the back of the craft bin and pulling out these brads. I don't know that they get used very often anymore, but for interactive stuff like this, definitely handy to have these little guys. Color doesn't really matter. If you want it to match your paper, go for it. I have little, these ones are pewter metallic ones, and you're going to be able to see them a little bit, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. Now I'm going to take my piercing tool, and we actually want to look at our circles as being kind of in that, I'm going to call it the stoplight format. So you got them stacked vertically. So what I want to do is I want to punch a hole or poke a hole with my piercing tool at the bottom of the top circle. I'm going to do a top and bottom of the middle circle. And you just want it a little ways in so that when your brad is in, it's not going to show. And with this one, try and keep it kind of in line with each other. Like so. And then the bottom circle, we're just going to poke a hole at the top. there you have it. So now I'm going to take one brad and attach my top and my middle together. And I've got the top one on top. So the top vertically is layering on top of the middle one. Just turn it so that those fastener openers go off to the side. And now I'm going to attach my double one to the bottom one. Again, the bottom vertical is going to go on the bottom layer wise. So try to keep them in order that way. And then what it can do is it can rotate like so. So this is where the twisty turny part comes in, is it looks like it's just a tiny circle, but when you open it up, it makes a stacked tag or image. And so this is where I dug deep in my stamp bin and could not find my pumpkin jack-o'-lantern face stamp, but if you have those, then go ahead and use them. I'm just going to use a Sharpie and draw some little faces on my pumpkins here. Like this. And I'm going to put a big smiley face on this one. And of course I picked a Sharpie that's not very wet, but that's okay. This one's going to be an oval. And let's just do a little tiny smiley face in this one. And this one, let's do maybe a small triangle and a large triangle eye, because he's going to be kind of a goofy. And maybe he'll be a sad face. Don't forget those teeth. Okay, so I'm not an artist. That means I'm going to have to find my stamps to do these properly. But guess what? You get the idea. And you can keep on decorating. You can put a little stem on there, and you've got the back to write your message on. Super, super cute and easy. And again, this is now going to fold up. And it looks like you've just got one. So like I said, what I might do is I might, if I were to put this on a card, I would glue the bottom one onto my card base. Imagine this is my card base. I could glue the bottom one on and rotate these guys down, maybe put my sentiment up the top, and then have that pull up so that it's interactive. You could put it in on a gift card holder, or you could punch a larger hole. Do I have my crocodile? I think so. I could punch a little hole up here in his head. So it's a little bigger than the brad holes that we were popping, and take some twine. Now I may not be able to get this because I was going to say usually the hardest part on these kind of spools is finding that that end. But I could just take some twine. And now he's a tag that you can hang off of maybe one of those sour cream containers that we made a couple of weeks ago. Or, string them together on a garland to decorate your space. So there you go. That's our pumpkin. Hope everybody's with me. because that was really only a couple minutes, let's go ahead and let's stay in the Halloween zone and let's make some monsters. So I am going to punch a circle out of this light green, out of this dark green, and out of some purple. And I do have some black as well. If you have a border punch that has like the pinking shears or a zigzag, if you want to create some hair, I'm going to use a solid circle. And I've got a 2-inch and a 1.5-inch handy here. So let me, well, how big can I do on this purple one? That purple will be at the top. So I'm going to make him 1.5 inches. I'm going to do the green one out of the light green one out of the scallop circle. And a dark green one out of the solid circle. Like so. And it's funny, the reason why I did it in that order, not only to go solid, scallop, solid, is that even though these are both 2 inches, for some reason the scalloped one looks visually smaller. So I put him in the middle and get my pokey tool. So this one's going to be a hole at the bottom of the purple. Top and bottom of my light green. Don't poke your finger in behind, just be careful. And then top of my dark green. Come on. Now that I've told you to be careful with your fingers, I'm super conscious of that. All right, 2 more brads. So small one on top of the medium one. Push my brad through. Medium one on top of my large one. Like so. And like I said, you could cut some hair. You can, you know, I'm gonna let's get experimental here. So I'm gonna take my black and my scalloped, but instead of doing a full circle, I'm just gonna do a little sliver of circle. And you know what? Maybe we should have done this before we attached them. But I can slide that under. Let me undo this one. That's the beauty of brads too, is that if you want to, you can take them apart again. So, the one thing I forgot was adhesive. Good thing I work in a craft store, huh? So here's some tape. Going to attach my hair onto the bottom of my little circle here. Trim it off. Oops. Re-poke my hole. Whoops. Come on, stick. There we go. So now this monster has some hair. Yeah, I probably would have done a little bit bigger if I were to do it again, but that's all part of the creativity. And this one, I'm going to take, I've got this wave border punch. Let's see what that does on here. To create something that looks like hair. I don't need a lot, so I'm just gonna do it like that. Let's trim it off. Or you know what? Now that I've done that, I'm just going to use, can I use that? That's kind of cute. I wish I had my liquid glue, but that's okay. Oh my. That's a lot of tape. Stick this to the top of this little guy here. Maybe it's on a little jaunty angle. Trim it off. And again, if you've got cute little monster stamps, you can stamp some funky faces on here. I'm going to treat you to more of my non-existent artistic skills. So like so. This one can be, maybe he's got a big nose and little eyes like this. And this is a Frankenstein, so he's going to have square eyes. I'm sure you guys can do much better with your stamps than I am with my Sharpie. But here's a monster. He really doesn't look good with my drawing, but hopefully you guys have enough ideas that you can take it and run with it. So that's a second Halloween one. And if you have some white handy, we can do a snowman and start planning for Christmas. So I'm going to do the same configuration like this because I like that stacked look. So I'm going to do a small circle. I'm going to do a scallop circle. And I'm going to do a large circle. Oh, you're stuck there. Stack them accordingly. You probably won't be able to. Here, let's do. This is just so you can see. I'm not actually going to put it on green. So this is for our snowman. So bottom circle, top and bottom of the middle. For this one, you might want to use white brads if you have them, or cover them in white paint. I have also used embossing powder on my metal brads. What you just need to do is take your brads and hold them in some tweezers. Don't use your fingers. Heat up the metal, then dip it into your embossing powder, and then heat it again. You may need to do a couple of coats of it, but that's a really fun technique as well. All right, so now I've got my small circle going on my medium. And my medium going on my large. Just as I'm sitting here, there's so many different things you could do. You could do a tag for a teacher and stack apples in this way. Or like I said, the snowman, or you could just do faces, get some yellow and do different emojis all stacked on one another. And then I'm going to take some more black. I can grab this scrap all the way over here. And I'm just going to use my trimmer. I can use this piece here. So I am going to cut a little sliver. And then I'm going to cut a larger rectangle. Go right to the edge here. To make him a hat. don't need to be that tall. Maybe a little bit more narrow. I'm just kind of eyeballing this, ladies, so you can cut your hat any size you want. Gonna have a great big tall stovepipe Abraham Lincoln style top hat for this snowman. I always love a good jaunty angle, especially on a hat. And I can give him some coal eyes, some buttons. And again, if you've got some black brads, you could always just do that right in the center. I'm getting really creative here. Let's just snip that little bit off. Is that gonna look funny as a bumpy nose? Yeah, that looks funny. So let's just use a corner here. Little tiny bit of tape. Voila. So there you have it, ladies. A little stacked, twisty, turny snowman, goblins for Halloween, and our original pumpkins. So hopefully that gives you some really cute ideas. It's something that, you could just sit and kind of punch a bunch of circles and see how they go together. It's a fantastic way to use up your scraps and make some really, shaking the table, really simple tags, but, gives it a creative look, and this would be easy to mass produce as well. So if you were making a bunch of things for some of the small people in your life, or like I said, you could make a really pretty little garland by making, 9 or 10 of these guys and attaching them on a string. Would be lots of fun to do that to decorate your space. So there you have it, ladies. Short and sweet for this Halloween Saturday. I wish you all the best of tricks and treats for today. If anybody has any questions, I'm just going to stop the recording and then you can go ahead and shout them out. Where's my record button?
Thanks, Sheri. It's so cute.